So can I start now?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our depot session. This is Shweta Shriyar, and I'm currently doing my UG in Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute. Me and my classmate will be your host for today's live session. Thank you for joining us and wishing our teachers' day wishes. This is Decode Technical Session, is our fourth session, which is organized by Dr. MJR Educational and Research Institute and Institute of Indian Interior Designers on interior planning discussions and suggestions for improvisation in design and safety, presented by Mr. V. Anand. We hope you will find this session informative and useful. To begin the session, now I would like to welcome our past chairperson, Institute of Indian Interior Designers, Chennai Regional Chapter, Architect Srinivasan. It gives me it gives me an immense pleasure in inviting dynamic person who's actively involved in interior design. We are very happy to have you here, sir. Now we would like to hear a few words from you.
Welcome everyone for this Decode 1.0. It's a wonderful platform which is being created by Dr. MGR University. The whole credit goes to Dr. Shweta and her team. Wonderful association with Indian Institute of Interior Designers, Institute of Indian Interior Designers, Chennai chapter. I would like to welcome each and every one of you, and the great credits goes to our chairman, architect Jay Pandian, and of course he's handling the complete this one for this program, and of course all other managing committee architect Jay Pandian has geared up wonderful programs like this, and this is one of the major meeting where we have the educational institutions is being coordinating with all these kind of a knowledge pack programs, which is the continuous development program which has been happening. And I would like to welcome our chief guest today, engineer Mr. Anand, who is having a very handful of experience on electrical safety and other things. So he will be in a position to give his best of his knowledge to share to all of us. And we welcome you, sir. I would like to thank our team, Vidya and Dr. Pranita Verma, for coordinating the complete program. And of course, not but least our Honorable Secretary Rashmi Yadav also is coordinating with presenting all the communications to all of us. And all other participants, architects, interior designers, and students, welcome each and every one of you for this wonderful program. For the next 1 hour, we will be having a very good knowledge capsule, which will be a take-home because this is a major input and ingredient which we need for the infrastructure for any kind of a building which we design or any interior designs which we do up for any kind of verticals like this with our institution. And let's welcome our chief guest once again, Mr. Anand and players. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was pleasure hearing from you. Now we will switch with Divija now.
Thank you, Shweta. And good evening, everyone. This is Divija doing my Bachelor of Design in MGR University. I am really happy and grateful to introduce Dr. Shweta Madhusudan, Dean, Faculty of Architecture, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. She completed her BA at MGR University, pursued her master's and doctorate in architecture at Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology. She is always very active in collaborating worldwide with great minds for students to attain knowledge in all aspects of architecture. I would like to hear a few words from you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thanks, Divya. A very happy Teachers' Day to all of you. Uh, Thank you for introducing me. And on behalf of Dr. MGR Education and Research Institute University, I welcome all of you, all participants, students, architects, and my students to this wonderful event of Decode organized by us and as well as the great Network of Inspiration at IID, Chennai chapter. And I thank Dr. Jayapandian for giving us the opportunity to host the program. And of course, Pranita has been supporting us throughout. Thank you, ma'am. And senior officer, thank you, sir. Because of you only we got introduced to this wonderful session. And all other society members, and of course, my guest faculty and friends and other architects from other institutions. And I welcome all the participants and keep going with high voltage. We have our guest Mr. Anand going to present you on electrical and safety. So welcome all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for organizing this session, ma'am. Now I request Vice Chairperson Trade, Ms. Madhu, who is one among the coordinators of Decode from IIID, to introduce our renowned speaker, Mr. Anand, for today. Over to you, ma'am.
I think it's Madhu. We're waiting for you to introduce Mr. Anand. Madhu, are you able to be?
I think she has to unmute herself.
Madhu, can you unmute
Okay,
yourself?
forgot to
please?
unmute. Sorry, everybody. Good evening to all. I'm honored to introduce Mr. V. Anand. He has 30 plus years of experience in building electricals. His company, Ishwari and Co., is one of the leading electrical consultants doing various projects both in India and abroad. He has 10 years of contracting experience and 20 years of design consultancy and electrical safety audit. He is also a government approved C license holder. His experience includes a tier 4 data centers, malls, resorts, educational institutions, IT buildings, hospitals, factories, substations, and apartment complexes. The client list ranges from Cognizant, DHL, TCS, BSNL, Paradise Park, and many more. Electrical designing, though being a nervous system of any establishment or a house, necessary importance is not being given to the designs and quality of material and workmanship. This in turn leads to power leakage, excess consumption of power, voltage fluctuation, electrocution, and such untoward happenings. We will today share his knowledge. He will today share his knowledge with us for improvisation in design and safety from the electrical point of view. I now hand over to Mr. Anand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhu. Madhu is our vice chairperson at IIID Chennai chapter, and she looks after the entire trade vertical. She's been with IIID for a long time and is always at site almost now also. I've had so thank you so much for taking that, Madhu. And over to you, Mr. Anand, for your session. We're all looking forward.
Yeah, thank you. Wishing all the teachers and the teachers to be happy Teachers' Day. My fear for teachers has not gone from me yet. So salutes to every teacher. Before I get into the presentation part, may I know how many students are enlisted in this participant list?
So even if we are not in the college, we are still students learning from you.
No.
Actually, I am also a student.
Since we're doing it on multi-screen, there's some who have linked in from YouTube and some from Facebook. So we are not, but on Google Meet, we currently have 29 people registered to listen.
Fine. I would start with my presentation. Before that, I would like to upfront request the participants to throw the questions through the chat box. First, I would like to know whether I should present what I want to present, or would it be more interesting if I need to answer the questions the participants have in their mind. So I request all of you to mention the questions in the chat box so that I can know that the presentation would be more relevant in terms of answering your questions. I'll go ahead with my presentation. In the meantime, you may drop in your questions starting from right now in the chat box.
All right, the floor is open for questions. People, our speaker today has taken a different approach. He first wants to know what are the top questions on electricals in our mind. So I would request the audience to just text in one question, two questions, whatever you have in the chat box, and Divija and Shweta will call it out, read it out for you.
I'll go ahead with my presentation, and as the questions pile up, I'll switch over to answering it.
I think that's a good idea because people will still warm up and they'll start texting the moment. I know you will be having your own set of triggers. So
Is the window
visible?
is the screen visible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
1968. Wow.
Yeah, it was started by my father, and
Uh-huh.
they're operating from Chennai, and Pan India we are operating, and that's all for the advertisement part. And let's go to the subject. See, there are various electric codes starting from 1956 onwards. Indian electricity rules was finalized in the year 1956, and subsequently, a lot of electric codes have been in vogue. However, taking into account the international electric codes, Indian electricity rules, and the local guidelines and the interpretations, the most important engineering factor that has to be followed would be common sense engineering and best practices which are not generally mentioned in books. So this common sense engineering has actually helped people in a big way. The Titanic ship, though it was built by great engineers, nobody checked the brittleness of the steel. Unfortunately, it banged onto the glacier and went down. So the common sense engineering and the best practices of providing clearances, all these things have to be followed, which need not be mentioned in a book. So this is where I come from, and I would like to give a presentation from here on based on these things. See, this presentation would be required on what exactly is required for architects from an electrical consultant's point of view. With all due respects to architects, architects to be and practicing architects, space planning is actually, we are having a lot of problem because the space per square feet is quite costly, and architects would like to save as much space and give it to the user, be it a resident or an office or a factory. So they would like to give as much space to the user. So this square, when it comes to electrical room planning, it is all the more important that the square area that is actually required by the electrical consultant, in terms of panel, the UPS, batteries, the necessary clearances, all being taken into account. And for electrical, the cubic space of room height is very important. More than false ceiling, it would be a treat to have a false flooring in an electrical room, because at any point of time, the services above false ceiling would demand service. So if everything is going to go below false flooring, the neatness of the electrical room, safety, everything can be maintained. So the square area is quite important, and the cubic area is also important. So short height electrical rooms are not a great space for electrical services, AHU, electrical services, battery rooms or anything. Similarly, unnecessary space demands might be placed by electrical consultants. I know, I understand that. But the point here is, it is all the more important that the unnecessary space is not given to them, because naturally the broomsticks, the acid bottles, and all these security shirt, everything would start getting dumped into these areas. So it has to be avoided. The accessibility for service equipment like generator, transformer, UPS batteries, and room access has to be maintained. So the accessibility for the heavy equipment like UPS, the batteries have to be provided, and the room has to be accessible in such a way such that the room is completely kept clear. The room is completely kept clear of any clutterable materials, and it is easy for the operator to run away from that room in case of any emergency. So in that way, accessibility for service is very important here. And accessibility for the EB supplier or the service provider or the building service provider also has to be taken into account. And all these things we are raising it only for making the firefighting part very easy, not for any other reason. The service part, somehow the electrician will somehow squeeze himself into the gaps and attend to it, everything fine. But when it comes to firefighting, this definitely has to be taken care. Certain areas like ring main units, substations, lightning arresters, water flooding part, whether the installation is actually blocking the highway, emergency, extensive redundancies taken care, business continuity plans, Vastu solutions, all these things are being avoided in this discussion. Nevertheless, all these things have to be taken care. So I'm just mentioning this, all these parts have to be.
I would just request you to hold on for a minute. I think there is something wrong with the presentation screen. You're not able to view your screen. These are glitches that we have in an online world, but I think somebody else's Vartika Mishra was presenting. Now it's back to you, I think. Could you again switch on your presentation, please?
Is it visible now?
No. You're not seeing the screen.
You're no longer presenting. Well, someone else is.
Yeah. Can you go back and present? So. I can see your presentation in the side box. I'm sure Priya is attending to it, but by the time, can you just change to presenting? Otherwise.
Is it visible?
Not yet.
Anand sir, just to click on that screen itself, then only that stair will pop up.
Double click on that presentation.
So once you click present now,
yes,
yeah,
now
it's coming now.
So could you just go back one slide?
You go for your entire screen.
Is it clear now?
Yes, it is.
Not yet.
Can you just go back one screen, one slide? Because we would not. Just one slide up, slide 5.
Now, was the slide visible?
The slide is visible, but.
Is the slide visible now?
Yes, it is. And you can go forward. Yes. Now, please continue.
Okay. See, the priority that the electrical consultant has to give is for these are the areas which he has to consider to take care to ensure that his installation is safe. One is the fire retardancy of the materials and the firefighting system. Okay, the firefighting system has to be in place fine, and the material itself by itself has to be fire retardant. Is the cable fire retardant cable? Do I have a fire retardant cable? Yes, I do. Am I providing any tripping mechanisms in the panel like earth fault relay, overload relay, earth leakage relay, overcurrent relay, over voltage relay, neutral disconnection relay? All these things I will be providing. In fact, if there is any surge from the lightning, or any other grid surge, all these things can be tripped and the equipment can be protected. For all these things, tripping mechanisms are they available? Yes, they are. It is available in the panel, it is available in the distribution board. The cable can be made fire retardant, switches can be fire retardant, hazardous substances can be restricted, the wire is fire retardant, battery, UPS, isolated room, fire protection, auto firefighting system, all these things can be provided. But the biggest surprise we have got is, despite all these things, the fire still occurs. And the main reason is the fire retardant materials from the consumer point of view. I have provided a fire retardant wire, an MCB breaker, but is the body of my air conditioning unit inside your room. Right now, you might be sitting inside an air conditioned environment. Is the split AC unit body, is it fire retardant? No. It is very much flammable and it can emit carbon monoxide, extreme toxic fumes, and char up the entire room. So the body of the AC unit is not fire retardant. Is the carpet fire retardant? There are very few carpets which are fire retardant, but for various commercial reasons, they are not coming into practice. There are various paint that are not fire retardant, and these things are also very much being used in furnitures and certain cases in panels also. So we have to ensure that all these things do not occur. The electrical cables, we have got Cat6 cables. The electrical cables or fire retardant cables are available. Fire retardant low smoke, fire retardant low smoke, halogen free cables are also available. But when it comes to the Cat6 cable, which is also a part of the system, this is not fire retardant. So if there are fire retardant materials and non-fire retardant materials, flammable materials inside the same premises, how do we expect the installation to be fire safe? The chairs which we sit on, is the sponge in the chair, is the upholstery that is done on it, is the upholstery done on the partitions, are they fire retardant? To what extent the insulating materials used in the air handling unit, AC duct, fire retardant? How much, to what extent the stores, paper, and the IT equipment are all fire retardant? So all these things are non-fire retardant materials, which means they are very much flammable. Unless something is very seriously done on these aspects also, then we can't say that we have alleviated all the risks and we have made the entire installation fire safe. We may provide a fire extinguisher, but the handbags that the people bring in, the laptop bags, is the laptop fire retardant? Nothing at all. Just nothing. So, come what may, the fire retardant materials cannot be brought into each and every system which we use. So, the only way to make the entire installation safe, absolutely safe, is number one, the materials used to have to be as far as possible fire retardant. Now, that's part number one. And the second part is awareness. Electrical safety awareness. There is no point of providing a fire detection system and a fire fighting system, and if we don't have the fire safety awareness, and if we just imagine, there have been certain cases where I was not. The problem is, though I would love to give a lot of photographs, the problem is when I went to the installations, we are forced to leave our mobile phones in the reception, or we are not allowed to take photographs. This problem many my fellow consultants or architects would have experienced. Unless it is a warm shell or a barren land, it is not so easy to take photographs. Companies like certain engineering companies and BPOs and call centers and certain other companies, you have to take a lot of permission to take photographs. But I can cite few installations where the electrical room was termed as unused, not much used room, and empty carton boxes where the laptops and the systems came. The carton boxes were all dumped into that room, where we had to do a pole vaulting and jump over the carton boxes to get into the electrical room to find out what exactly was wrong. So all these things have happened. So this definitely has to be taken care. So fire retardant materials, to whatever possible extent, it is always advised to go for fire retardant materials. I just have a quiz for you. I've got a photograph here. Anybody can switch on the mic and tell me what are the problems you can see in this installation. Anything?
Sir, the water tank above?
They are not getting the screen.
Okay, the screen is not visible, huh? Somebody gave an answer, I thought. Is it not visible? Is the screen not visible?
It is visible. It is visible. Quiz.
Yeah.
This is fine.
One is water tank above the generator. See, the water tank is above generator, and even if there is going to be a water spillage, the generator is covered for any kind of rainwater fall. So what is the problem in allowing a water tank to be placed close by, even if there is a leak? But your question, your point is very valid. Your point is valid. I will answer that also.
So all the generators are very close.
Perfect. Another?
Generators are very near to window units.
Okay.
Sir, wire is going in very low height.
Brilliant.
Sir, the smoke maybe from the generator will affect the indoor air quality because the outdoor AC unit is placed. So the AC unit will absorb that air.
Perfect. See, you have actually covered most of the points. Okay. See, if you look at it, the the water tank is placed right above the generator. Even if there is going to be a raindrop falling on the enclosure, yes, the enclosure is designed to take care of raindrops falling. Yes. What if the water tank itself falls on the generator? If the structure gets weakened, and if it falls on the generator, the entire splash of some 1,000 liters will get into the generator, and this is a danger. It is not designed for such a huge splash. One. And second thing is, as very rightly pointed out, the ventilation part, the cables dangling around, everything has to be looked into. What about the pollution control board car regulation, and where have I taken the exhaust vent up to the terrace level? And how am I going to maintain the farthest generator? How do I pull the generator out and send it for maintenance or anything else? And there is can you see my cursor?
Yes, we can.
So if there is going to be an all-round maintenance, if it is warranted, an all-round maintenance is warranted around this generator, the clearance between the building and the generator is very pathetic. And there is no way a person can actually, this generator is supposed to be mounted at a floor level height, just like this. So if it is going to be mounted at this level, somebody has to have a bench or a stool, climb up onto it, and then start maintaining it, check for measurements. This window, look at this window. I've got a meter here. I can never get into this meter here. This person who has mounted here has thought that he is keeping it at a safe height to ensure that rainwater problems do not occur to this generator. But what about the load checking or anything else? So that part has not been taken care. And to do any maintenance, I have to do all circles, take permission from this generator wala, and then remove all the cables that are dangling all around, then pull the generator out. And all the more important, the generator breathes like a human being. It needs fresh air ventilation hot air breathing out. The fresh air suction has to happen, and the hot air has to be thrown out. So this hot air is actually fed into this generator, and God knows which engine or which generator is going to malfunction or burst due to ventilation purposes. So all these things have to be taken care. This is not pertaining to the interior designing, but there are offices which have got separate generator requirements, which would for even interior installation. So all these things have to be taken into consideration before validating the location finalized by the builder or the electrical consultant or by the architect or by the landowner, the building developer. So all these things have to be looked into. And this water tank, for what purpose they have provided, God only knows. So these parts, all these things have to be taken into. And most importantly, you being architects, you all know that this is a flat surface. This is a flat surface and this is a flat surface. If leaves fall on the generator top and if rain falls on top of it, the leaf will start decaying and settle on the top of the generator and slowly rust the top cover and start eating up the top of the generator enclosure and allow the water to percolate inside. So this is a major risk. So even if a flat surface is provided, there has to be a slope on top of it to ensure that the water doesn't enter and the leaf somehow falls down and dust doesn't allow interact with water and eat up the generator enclosures of surface. Some common sense engineering. See,
So that
water
has been taken off, I think.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, I'm pausing you in your presentation, but your screen has been taken. Shruti, can you please shut off your presentation? Yes. So now sir, you'll again have to switch on your presentation. Just click on your presentation. Sure, we can see your screen. Now you just need to make it full screen.
Yeah. Is this visible?
Yes.
See, you have already mentioned these things. There is an AC water drip from the split AC units. I can't remove this DG. Exhaust fan has to go to the top. This is a water disaster waiting. Slope for leak settlement and breathing space. And I don't have any, I don't even know where my earth pits are. And the breathing space for the generators are huge risk. All round maintenance is impossible. You can see some motor or something located here. All these things are danger. See, this is a UPS room. This is the supposedly well designed UPS room. Can you tell me what possible defect? I'll zoom this. I'm sorry.
You won't be able to zoom it, sir?
I can't zoom it. Okay.
No.
See, I'll just tell you. This is a UPS room, and these are all UPSs lined up here. And this is the entry-exit door. Can you just tell me one major flaw which you can see? I had already mentioned about it while presenting initially. Can you just mention about the defect which you can see?
There should be exhaust for UPS generating heat.
See, the UPS room is completely cooled and it would be maintained tentatively at 23-24 degrees, almost at the room temperature externally. And exhaust ventilation is also provided here. You can see this diffusers provided here.
Are they given a proper ground earth pit?
Yeah, that they have done.
At the bottom there should be insulator.
Yeah, that they have done. The earth part is taken care. I'm not talking about an electrical point of view. It is from the architect's point of view. This is the entrance. This is the entrance.
Space for the
Yes,
emergency evacuation, sir.
Perfect. Nailed on it. See, if this is my entrance and these are all UPSs lined up, naturally the batteries would be located behind the UPS in another room. Just imagine a person, if he exits from the battery room, which is prone for explosion and fire, he has to get out of the battery room, take a straight curve, and then take a left, and then take a left, and then get out of this room. Just imagine if this gangway had been kept clear for exit. For exit. Just imagine the person has to run out of the electrical room. That is why there is no rule that is saying that the electrical room door has to open, push outside. I need not open it, push it outside. I can very well pull it out inside and then get out of the room. But even that fraction of a second should not be wasted, and this person has to push out and get out of this room. So despite this area being done so very well, it's a neat room, it is well planned, the clearances are there, he can come here, take readings, well lit, fine, earthing part, all taken care. But the gangway to the exit is not taken care. I see few questions have been posted here. I think we will take it at the last one.
A few have been posted, sir, along with, so maybe we can take it after your presentation.
Fine, okay, fine, okay.
Right.
And here, this is the UPS room. If you can see here, this is the UPS room, okay, and this is a battery room. The panels are all located here. The UPS is located here, and this is an exit passage. This pre-action room just for students in case they had not come across, or I don't know, so I am repeating. This pre-action room gives fire protection. This is a battery room which has got a separate door. This is a hub room. This is a server room, and this is a service provider room, etc., etc. This is a perfectly approved room by the electrical inspectorate. But there is one major flaw which has been missed out. Can you tell me? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, the connection between the server room and UPS room?
It need not be there because server room is separate. It is not the problem I am trying to point out is not an electrical room, electrical point.
Pratap Reddy, please don't present, guys. What are you all up to?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Again, Pratap Reddy, can you stop presenting? Again, your screen has been just hijacked. Pratap Reddy, we request you to shut off your presentation. So you'll have to stop and re-present again. Vidya, I think we can just log out Pratap from our classroom.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to.
Pratap, if you're able to hear me, please go to your presentation box and stop presenting. Yes, we are back to Anand sir. Can you restart your screen, please? I'm sorry for the kind of disturbance we are having.
That happens.
And I think there is a question right as you are teaching because people are asking what is a pre-action room. We have not heard of the term before.
Yeah, pre-action room is where for fire protection cylinders. Cylinders are kept here. The gas cylinders are kept here for quenching the fire. So this is kept here. This is the building management system room. This is the battery room, UPS room. All these things are here. There is a major non-electrical flaw in this drawing, which I have presented here.
So maybe the pre-action room straightly open to the UPS room or a battery room for a emergency thing, because we can't circulate. I mean, we can't run around and take the cylinders to the UPS room or a battery room.
The pre-action room has got cylinders which will open up automatically, and there is no human intervention in it. The point I'm trying to make here is it is a non-electrical, non-safe, it is a non-electrical fault in this room. It is not pertaining to electrical in any way.
Okay, sir. It is not carrying any cylinders like for a fire safety cylinders, sir. Is this room carrying any fire safety cylinders?
No, it has not got through with the pre-action room.
Is it the steps that leads down? Step up, sorry, raised up?
No, that is also permissible. We can have a ramp or a steps. It is not pertaining. I will give one more clue. It is not the biggest clue. It is not pertaining to UPS room, battery room, BS room, BMS room, pre-action room. It is not pertaining to service provider room, not to the FTR room. It is the mother's room. It is the mother's room which is located so close to the electrical room.
Sir, what is the use of mother's room?
Okay. There are feeding mothers who would be working in an office, and they can bring their children, they can bring their babies, and their caretaker would be provided in a mother's room. It is for lactating mothers, and the mother's room is actually located so close to the electrical room. So in case of a fire, during these conditions, it will be very hard for the mother to even escape, and this makes it more troublesome, because during any fire safety evacuation, it is children and ladies first. Children and old people first, and the next is ladies, and then the last thing would be the men. I don't know who framed this, but men have to go to hell first. Okay, so this mother's room should not be so close to the UPS room, and this is a major flaw which has got no connection with this and just common sense engineering. See, in terms of core services of a building, one aspect that is being brought out is the necessity, all the electrical room, air handling unit room, toilets, ventilation shafts, staircases, all would be brought together to make the service core of the entire building very strong, and all the weight that it may carry can be located in one area, so that it will be easy for the structural consultant to design this part. But the major part that has to be taken into consideration is the occupants services. What I'm trying to say when I mean occupant services is the electrical room location, the precision air conditioner room location, the battery room, the server room. All these things should not be together. It has to definitely be separate. In an office room, this would be the most ideal condition. The electrical room should be separate, farthest point. Probably you can have a distribution arrangement here and there. The AC room, the air handling unit room, which is pertaining to the skeleton of the building, can be in one area, and the server room has to be in a corner. What happens is, if it is done this way, there will be no crossover of any service. There will be no crossover of any service. There are various experienced architects who are all demanding for huge, the bigness, the office ka bigness has to definitely be more to make it feel more expansive. So it gives a very nice feeling of keeping the office ceiling height to as much as possible. The space between the false ceiling and the ground finished floor level has to be maximum so that the bigness of the office is achieved and the cramped feeling, capsulated feeling is not given to the user. To achieve this, it is all the more important that the electrical room, the AHU room, and the server room be located in the farthest places. To the best of my knowledge, with all respect to architects, I have not come across this kind of an installation. I'm waiting for it. Services through floor or ceiling, both are okay, but in the days to come, we have done certain installations for companies like MRF, and we did a job for, I forgot the company name, we did this job in Dubai, close to Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah. There's a company called Julfar Towers, Ras Al Khaimah, it's for Dubai government. So we did a data center, and the entire lighting was done through tracks like this. These are all lighting tracks and the power tracks. All these things can be taken through this. They are a bit costlier, I agree, but this can always be reused with zero wastage. Mind you, I have seen offices which have been dismantled and taken to another installation, and the entire light fixture, wiring, raceways, everything being scrapped. For me, it is a material. Okay, as an electrical consultant, as an architect, for you it would be a chair. For you it would be a door, the dorma fittings, a wonderful curved glass, and it'll all be fire retardant wires for you and me. All these things would be materials. For a scrap vendor, everything is scrap, just scrap. So definitely we have to start moving from first one use material to total, a complete lifespan, no depth for these materials. That kind of materials we should try to strive for. So if you look at this lighting track, I can always remove this, put it in another installation, remove this, put it in another installation. All I need to do is if this bulb fuse off, if this fitting fuses off, if the driver fuses off, I just remove it. All these things are being, I'm trying to communicate to an architect team just to get a better budget or to get a better design, give a better design to the users, to the client, so that even if there is going to be a slightly extra capital expenditure, the return on investment is going to be phenomenal. When this is going to be taken to the next site, the expenditure would be zero in terms of lighting, wiring. There is no fire hazard, nothing at all, completely packed, and it is looking so neat. Just imagine if one of your offices is going to have something like this, and if the data with the kind of speeds which we are trying to achieve, there are no more data cables, only through Wi-Fi and power track and lighting track like this. Just imagine everything will be completely reusable. So I thought this should be brought to your notice. Lighting. I understand that lighting is a topic that has been already touched up, but there are there are a couple of information which I would like to share out of my own personal interest. One is when diffused lighting, when the industry started moving from diffused lighting towards direct lighting like LED. See, at home we would have come across tube lights or normal fluorescent tube lights. It would not have been a great irritation. It would not have been a great irritation to work under a fluorescent tube light. But when it comes to working below LED screens, if you remove the diffuser, you can see the light directly attacking our retina, which leaves us with hazy eyes. You might have worked in your mobile phones for hours together or on your laptop and ended up with lazy eyes or hazy eyes. And after not working for some half an hour or 1 hour or so, you would have realized the difference. This can be this can be countered with indirect lighting. Indirect cool lighting. This is the most important thing. And some 25 years before, some 25 years before, a few softwares were used while working in computers. Can anybody name a couple of them? Hello?
If you have an answer, do type it out in the chat box or unmute and speak.
No, please unmute because I can't switch over because I'm presenting.
Just
Kindly
unmute and answer if you have a answer.
I'm asking all these questions to keep you awake and make it interactive.
I know. Maybe you need to repeat the question, sir.
See, some 25 years before, today we are on 2020, some 25 years before, probably around 95, 94, there were few softwares which people were working on in computers. A couple of them might have come across the name of these softwares. It was called DOS.
Yes.
And there was something called as Fox Pro, Fox Base, all these things.
WordStar.
WordStar, yeah, perfect. WordStar. Right. All these things were there. During those times, the screen was dark, so the room had to be lit well for an operator to know what exactly he is keying into the system. But now it is Windows or AutoCAD or SketchUp or lighting softwares like Relux, Reddit, Rivet. All these things are actually lighting up the screen. Why are we still giving bright environment? Nobody knows why the environment should be bright when my work bench or my working screen is actually bright. We have stuck up with that bright environment, which is actually an irritant. And I have seen offices where they have completely shut down the lights and make it look like some bedroom and are working. Then we have to request them saying that they may bang onto each other while walking on the corridor, and we have to reduce the lighting levels. We have given lighting sensors, people are not happy. We have given daytime daylight sensing occupancy sensors, not happy. Now we have gone to the extent of giving manual dimming solutions. If you are not happy with this solution, boss, I am giving you a simple regulator on the wall. You go to the wall, dim it to your convenience and leave it up. Don't switch it off. So to that extent, people are giving lighting up the environment. So we have to definitely look at indirect lighting, which will not be an irritant because it will be an environment, it will be an ambient lighting and not direct lighting because the screen is already lit. So this comparison, this connectivity, relativity has to be had in mind while doing a design. And there is something, the eye adjustment index, there are a lot of lighting guides which have improved from lighting guide 1, 2, 3, 4 to 7, 10, it has gone beyond that. All these people are thinking that my eye efficiency will remain the same as it is, like as it was at 9 a.m. in the morning. Will it remain same at 6 p.m. in the evening? Naturally not. I would have seen the screen. I would have gone for lunch. I would have seen a projector for a long hours, or some training might have happened. So my efficiency would have come down. So this variable adjustment index is not pertaining to something like if you look at the lighting levels, it is talking about 350 lux or 400 lux or 500 lux on the workbench. No, it has to vary depending on the user. We cannot say that boss adjust ho jayega. He will adjust. For some time they will complain. then after that they will stop complaining. They will understand their eye will adjust. No, the eye will not adjust. It is actually fighting hard. People who are wearing spectacles, if they remove the spectacles and work for 2 hours or 3 hours, they will get a headache. This problem, the eye also will suffer, even if people who don't have power. The eye tries to adjust, struggles. So this variable eye adjustment index is happening from minute to minute, second to second. So we should ensure that the strain is not given to the eye to keep the workforce as healthy as possible. Last part is a video. This is to stress the importance of earthing. So why I'm the necessity of showing this video is people are definitely comparatively careless about earthing, or even if there is a slight shock felt in the elbow while working on a metallic surface, on the cheek, or anywhere else, it is being taken very light. It should not be taken so. Tell you one funny environment where somebody experienced an electric shock when he was opening a door knob. When he was opening a door, the workbench I understand, but he was just opening a door and he felt an electric shock. It was just tickling sensation it was giving, but he felt that he was feeling an electric shock. The comedy was the furniture in any installation, the false ceiling metallic GI metallic members that are being provided, the air handling units duct, the door frames, floor raise space, anything and everything that is metallic in that installation has to be connected to earth point. If it is not done, this will happen. So I was asked to come over to the site and find out the problem, because it was so funny and nobody knew why should a doorknob experience an electric shock. And there was no switchboard installed along the doorknob, close to the doorknob or anything. So I just said that please open the false ceiling and find out if the structure, the metallic structure is actually coming into contact with any AC grid. They just opened it up and said yes. And I asked them to find out whether the metallic duct is earthed properly. No, it was not done at all. The moisture in the AHU had actually traveled through the duct and touched the AHU, and the plenum had become wet. And for some fault in the AHU, it had traveled through this plenum, and it was acting like a conductor. Because the earthing was comparatively okay, it was the electrical feeling, the shock was very mild. So when the disconnect was, when the disconnect of earthing was identified, I just asked them to earth the door frame and the AC duct, and the problem was solved. So this part has to be, the earthing is a very serious thing. It has to happen from structure. The students have to encourage structural earthing. It has to start right from the time when the structure itself is being built. So that is the reason why I am trying to give this video, to show you the efficiency of earthing. Good earthing, this video is being shown. If there are any heart patients or pregnant women, blah blah blah, please take care. Can you see the video? This is an earthing. So this fellow is sitting on top of a train, local train. Okay, it's finished. The point here is, if what is the problem? What is the problem you saw in the? You would have seen the coach, people inside, people inside the train, the bogie, and the person going and touching the DC cable, live cable, and he got electrocuted. He was the only person who died in that accident. There was nobody else. There was nobody else who died, and he was the only person who died in that accident. Okay, reason being, okay, the reason being, the earthing was so efficiently done in railways, all the other people did not feel even a tingling of electric shock, and it was the only person, the person who touched, came into live contact with the wire, who died. So rest all were saved from the electric shock. So it doesn't work like water. One tap you open, water comes to me, the second tap comes to him, the third tap goes to the other guy. No. The water, it's just like, very much unlike water, the electrical earth fault takes the least resistance path and it gets itself grounded. So it is, the earthing part is very, very important. And if the services are going to be a sham, if there is any problem with AC, if the cooling is not proper, not heads will not roll, if the fire safety is not done properly, if the detectors are not working properly, then it is a different story. It has to be handled during emergency conditions. But in case of electrical, the problem will be instantaneously noticed. Instantaneously noticed. So I request that maximum seriousness be given to the services part, where life safety is so very important. And apart from this part alone has to be given enough seriousness and care. The clearances part, the evacuation plan, everything has to be taken care accordingly, so that every site which you design remains to be a safe one. Jai Hind. Can I have the questions?
All right. So I think that was quite an informative presentation, right from the moment where you've suggested that it is common sense above everything. Yes, you're technically educated. All of us go through our roles and we have studied enough, but we shouldn't forget our common sense over and above everything. The false flooring that you're suggesting in an electrical room, is there a minimum height that we should plan for?
Ideal would be 450 mm. For the cable to be bent and taken, 400, and for a technician to sit or open a tile, sit on a false flooring and bend himself and work, it has to be minimum 450 mm.
Okay. Data cable and electrical cabling, can they run parallel to each other on a wall when they are conduited on a wall? How much should be the distance between data cable when it's conduited on a wall and the electrical cable when it's conduited on the wall? Should there be a minimum distance between the two?
There was this recommendation. This recommendation, I saw it in the year 1998. Okay, that was time when Avaya, Lucent, all these companies were there, and these recommendations were there. After those times, during those times even, they said very clearly that you can take data cable and electrical cable, it can cross over each other, but it cannot be taken parallel to each other. See, the electrical operates at 50 hertz frequency, just 50 hertz, whereas the data operates at kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz frequency. There is no way this can interfere with those lines. If there was a time when these interferences, radio interferences was observed, when the operating frequencies were low, after the electrical cable and the data cable were taken in earthed metallic conduits or raceways, this problem got alleviated because the grounding happened. Nowadays, just imagine the data cable starts from the server room, electrical cable starts from the distribution board or from the UPS room. All these things get into the workbench, raw cable gets into the workbench, and it is located some 6 inches away. Why is there no interference? Why no interference is seen on the monitor? No, this thing is happening on the monitor. How come? And even if there is a problem, if the earthing is done, it gets overcome. How come? So if the earthing is done properly, no clearance need to be maintained.
Thank you. There's someone who's asked you how is earthing provided in a moving train? I think it's based on the video that you showed.
Yeah. See, every rail track, the rails are connected to earthing. The wheel is connected to the rail track, and this itself is acting as an earthing. Beautiful question. This rail track is earthed. If you get a chance to closely observe a rail track, you can see the track being connected to the earth.
Right. I hope that answers your question, Madhu. Anyone else, please do text your questions and we will unmute you, or if you can unmute yourself, introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, Mr. Vaidyanathan Srinivasan has asked, in this developed world, still the short circuit inferno being one of the major threatening issues. It's a great challenge. How we could overcome it? Yes, sir. It is not the electrical short circuit which is actually causing a problem. It is something else also. In very recently, probably around 8 months or even 1 year before, there is a building in Chennai, Padi, called Nuri. I forgot the name of the thing. It is a Nuri Park. The building is called Nuri Park. It is a 17-floor building. Separate shafts have been provided for electrical, for data cabling, and for firefighting. Everything has been provided. There was a massive fire. Everybody said, no, it is because of short circuit. The best of the design was adopted, and the people had to be evacuated immediately. There was, God's grace, there was no any fatal incidents. But after we were able to enter the building, we saw that the entire electrical shaft is completely safe. Within half an hour or 1 hour, the electrical service was restored. The problem was actually the service shaft door was not closed properly, and our friend who went and dropped milk packets and newspapers in every house had comfortably thrown a cigarette butt in the open data cabling, IT cabling, cable TV shaft, and it had actually caught fire because it went and dropped itself into the bottommost point, and none of the cables were fire retardant. As I had mentioned earlier, I can provide a fire retardant cable, fire retardant shaft, but what about the other shaft which is not fire retardant, where a cigarette butt or any other fire spark falls inside? So any insulation that is getting exposed has to be fire retardant. This science is slowly catching up. No building in the world is actually completely fire safe. No building.
Thank you.
I think on that same line, if you read, there's another question just above it, which has asked you is there any wireless digital screen possible? I don't know if the question is more to you, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wireless digital screen, is it possible?
Electrical fan, wireless digital screen. Okay, I don't see this. See, it has to be. It can be operated through Bluetooth. It can be operated through Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi connecting point. Just like Fire Sticks are happening with. We have got a Wi-Fi router at home, and the Fire Stick. It can be always routed through that. Automation, billing automation is available. All these things have become very simple, common, easily available things. A building, I would suggest you to get your presentation done through one building automation expert, where he will be able to give an answer, a solution for this. But it is available. I have seen it.
I think he's scheduled after this Saturday next. So I think, Kavya, you will get your answer when he comes in. Apurva Parsuram. His question is, how reliable are digital automation in buildings? I think again that goes to automation.
No, I can answer this. Yes, it is very reliable. It's a very pertinent question. It is very reliable. The science has improved to a great extent, where the automation part is actually thinking like a human being. If you are there is something called as aspiration system, early smoke detection system, where the smoke, if the quality of air will be detected by a particular system, this early smoke detection system, it will be analyzed. The quality of the air will be analyzed. There is some dust particle or some smoke will be analyzed. It will wait for the smoke to get bad. If the quality is getting deteriorated, then it will wait for the second step of deterioration, and finally the gas bank will open up and quench the entire fire. To that extent, automation has come. We can inform the fire station, we can send SMSs, emails, immediate phone alerts saying that this particular area, this detector, workstation number 123, the detector right above workstation 123 is suffering from problem, immediately move it to that place. All these things are coming to go. So, despite this, if fatalities are happening or people are not aware, means there is something called as fire mock drill. These things have to be conducted on a very regular basis. So once that is done, the purpose of digital automation would actually serve its purpose. How do we control overloading? Beautiful. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not taking more time.
No, I think there are just a couple of more questions that we'll take. There's.
I'm okay. It's okay for me. It's just that I didn't want to. How do we control overloading? See, for there is a maintenance person. There are simple meters available across the market, and there is a maintenance person or an electrician. All we need to do is we have to ask some common sense questions. I understand that the user need not possess these common sense questions, but nevertheless, the IT person or anybody who is adding any load to it should definitely consult with the building electrician or the technical person or the technical engineering team and find out whether this loading can be done onto this or not. Otherwise, going for a higher rated breaker or removing a residual current circuit breaker from the system, saying that, boss, this is bara trip ho raha hai, so let us remove this away and go ahead with it, means we are killing the doctor just to ensure that the reports are empty. That shouldn't happen. So the overloading should be to counter this overloading, the technician should come, check, certify, and then only it should be proceeded. Cable not routed. Okay, this is something else.
I think I would go to the last one, which if you answer you'll have covered everyone's, which is enlighten us, electrical in IBMS facilities.
Oh, good. See, in terms of operations, there has to be a limit to the IBMS interference or control in electrical field. We have not matured to a level where we are actually air conditioning the electrical room. Okay, let me put very blunt and frank on that. The electrical room is not, the base building electrical room is not air conditioned. There are certain foreign countries where the electrical room, even if it is a massive substation, it is kept completely air conditioned and in a working under a controlled environment. There, all these automation, everything can work. There is a specific rule in Indian electricity rules which says very clearly that the installation has to have a person, a rule 3 person, to check all the system. I have got an overload relay, earth leakage relay, earth fault relay, overcurrent relay, under voltage relay, lightning arrestor protection system, surge protection system, instantaneous earth fault relay. All these things I have provided. I can provide a heat detection system, but if there is going to be a smoldering wire in an installation which is yet to catch fire, there is no solution to find out the burning smell of an insulation in an electrical room. So it is all the more important the IBMS, that IBMS is installed in every electrical area, and it is also monitored as a counter signature. It is also monitored by one rule 3 person or one supervisor, just to see whether all connections are proper, whether everything is working perfectly. For this can be used as a prognosis. It can be used as the IBMS can be used as a prognosis, but it should never be. We should never say that I had put IBMS, it didn't give me any intimation, so everything is fine. No, that's not the way. A dead rat can never be found out by any IBMS. A smoldering wire car smell cannot be found out by IBMS. So it is all the more important. And even a hot terminal, they give a leverage that it can get hot up to this extent. Why should it get hot up to this extent? No. If there is something, if there is some anomaly in a system, I should get intimated instantaneously. For that, if I go and install a panel, if I go and keep checking all these things, I would immediately know. And there has to be a manual interference or a manual check on IBMS facilities. So that is the way to keep things completely connected. That's my suggestion.
I think that's quite a few questions, and there may be some more, I'm sure, as we move around and people understand, they'll have more questions. But we have a limited time with you, so we will have to come to a close for this session. And over to you, moderators, Divya and Shweta, are you there? Yes.
Yes. So thank you, sir. That was a wonderful session about electricals. And thank you, Pranita ma'am, for doing the questionnaire. It was really good. And over to you, Shweta.
Yeah. So now I request our coordinator, Architect Vidya Naveen ma'am, Professor of Dr. MJ University, who's been actively involved in organizing this event along with IIB to deliver the thank you note. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, Divija. Okay. I, on behalf of Dr. MGR, Educational Research Institute, and the entire team of Decode with Triple ID, I would like to thank the speaker for gracing his work and sharing all your findings, sir. A big thank you to you because you enlightened us with your knowledge and presence. And I would also like to thank in this moment that I was given an opportunity to share a few days with sir. I think I went to his office one day and he generously accepted to answer all the questions which I asked. And I was about to meet him to finish my master's in CPM. So I had few questioners and he was there to explain me whatever I asked for. each and every question the same way you did that today also, sir. I thank you for that in this forum. And I would also like to thank our Dean, Dr. Shweta, for giving this constant encouragement and support. And I would like to also thank the chairman of Triple ID, Chennai Regional Chapter, Architect Jaya Pandian, and Dr. Pranita for giving this enormous cooperation for organizing this whole event. And I would like also Architect Srinivasan sir for being in this forum today with us. And I would like to thank the participants who all participated in the event. And again, the student coordinators who are helping me out throughout the event. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We would now like to present a memento to our speaker. So if Shweta or Divija can share your screen, there it is a little token of appreciation from our end. I hope you like it, sir. It's a caricature done by our artist, Thomas Soundarajan. Hope you like it, sir.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
Send it to me. Send it to me through mail.
Sure, we'll do it, sir. Sure, we'll do.
We will, we will. We wanted to.
We are very happy to present this.
It's just okay, it worked. So we are happy you liked it.
Yeah.
And of course, we have our chairman-elect Ravi also here. So Ravi, would you want to share a feedback for today's session? And Srini sir? Your impression of today's session before we formally close. We have our young moderators, both Shweta and Dvija, waiting to close the session. But I would really want to have a feedback from both of you.
It was really a wonderful power pack program today. That's what I have also given it in a way. But all the negligence is being overcome by the intelligence. So the thing is definitely this kind of real information, if we can give it to any common man or kind of any kind of people, those who are working day in day out intelligence building, naturally it will be a very, very, very knowledgeable so that they can safeguard their lives as well as they can be the savior for other people also. It's a wonderful program, Mr. Anand. We enjoyed it. In fact, it's electrical engineering is an ocean, you know. So the thing is, we have so much of things which would have to be clarified. And one such particular reason I would like to talk about the HT lines has been cutting across with the lands and other things. And what are the best possible, any kind of alternative which we can do it up for that kind of this one. That is one of my this one, because even today there is been after so much of development has been happening. Even till today, the HT lines have been crossing all the farmlands and other things. Why we have not developed anything on that particular aspect? That is one of the questions which has been prompting out from my side to know.
Thank you, sir. The problem is, you'll be shocked to know there is a solution, and people do not have the interest to actually install a simple relay in every substation. When an electrical HT wire or the LT wire, when it snaps, instantaneously it comes into contact with the ground, and the next instant the signal will go to the nearest substation and it will trip the line. The solution is very much available, and for some reason the electricity board has not taken up this seriously and implemented in all of their substations.
No, that this one now. Okay, the circuit breaking is always better. The thing is the induction which has been happening at the lower side. That is a major aspect which I am talking about.
Induction is happening. See, there was a time when some 30, 40, 50 years before, farmlands were not this occupied. So people were not too very aware about it. So they had agreed to go ahead with the towers. now the cabling, everything is evolving. It is available at 220 kV cables have come, 132 kV cables have come. So all these things have to be changed. It is not something that can be instantaneously changed, but the cables are coming. It is we are trying to push it and see that the change is effected. We are actually designing an entire village is being constructed in Kumbakonam. We are doing providing the design for that. A
Oh,
complete village, yeah, a complete village of some 380 dwellings is coming in Kumbakonam. In that 380 dwelling colony, we are ready to spend for cables, though it is a bit costly. We are ready to spend for the cables, but the electricity board people are saying, no, 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 no. We are in villages. We should go only for overhead lines. We should not go for any cables. This is what they are saying. So I asked them, where is this proof and where is this document? That can you please explain? Sir, no, sir, not that way. We have been used to work this way. Arey boss, I had no answer. So, and it is not even 66 kV or 110 kV, it is just 230 volts.
Somewhere, I think education is where it comes back to, and we need to educate more and more professionals in different lines. So, we'll continue to do that. And on that note, thank you so much to the speaker, of course, but also to the audience for a very proactive participation this evening. We will meet again next Saturday, same time, same place, for a session on acoustics to learn about how to contain sound and where to let it go. So join us again next Saturday, 4 p.m. Thank you so much from the Decode team. Now the floor is open. We'll be.
yeah.
So Vidya, you can stop the spotlighting and we can have a gallery. That's all. Good session. I think Ravi just.
Is it somebody getting spotlighted, Pranita? I didn't spotlight anybody.
No, it's automatically, I think, picking up on the people who speak.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Anyway.
Thank you so much, Srini sir, for that.
Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you.
Actually, this one is a very wonderful event, but we should do this in look like anything like workshop, do it in a elaborately way. So from basic to we have to start. What is single phase current? What is three phase current? How we can use that?
Yeah,
so we have to go for one more session with Anand sir.
With the workshop.
Sir, and one more thing I wanted to add. M&M Jain College, I had one. Yesterday, I was talking to Jayapandi sir regarding this. M&M Jain College is also interested in attending our sessions. I think today she attended. Ma'am?
Yeah, Dean ma'am, we are circulating all our invitation to all the faculties all over in our Tamil Nadu. Okay, anybody can register and they can participate in that. There is no restriction for anyone.
Okay, so they have a request, sir. They wanted to hear about a glass. Because syllabus, I don't think glass is much covered in the syllabus, and notes are not available, I guess. So they wanted to know whether they could have a session on glass.
We'll get it organized. We have a really good consultant in glass. Not only the properties of glass, but he also gets you to know how to apply it in different situations. We organize for it, ma'am.
As Aparma, and one more thing, Japan is rightly said, more focusing towards the students. In basic electrical, like thumb rules to be followed by architects, other if it is covered, then it will be very useful, ma'am. Like how big should an AC plant room be? What is the distance between the minimum firefighting to normal rooms? So on the basics, though it is there mentioned in NBC and the standards, but still, if it is done in a live session, I think it will be useful, ma'am.
Yeah.
And one suggestion, instead of Saturday, they wanted to have it during class hours. Because Saturday very difficult to pull in students. Because already they're packed for the full 5 days, Monday to Friday. 9 to 4 they're working. So this,
We definitely look into them, madam. No problem.
yes, sir.
Okay. We will do it because we have another 2 events. So we will
Okay,
check
sir.
all those things. No problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Right, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Any other thing?
No, sir. Excellent, sir. Excellent organize பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. We're very happy. But only thing, student strength நம்ம எதிர்பார்த்த அளவுக்கு வரல. Today we were expecting.
No, today is really very good standard. I saw more than 60 students today.
Okay,
60
16, but but I was expecting 100 because electrical is a new subject. Because always they lack in the services and architecture combining that they lack. So I thought we would get good strength more than 100, but konjam disappointed on that.
Anyhow, we have our recording, no? That thing we can for them, no problem. That is
Okay, sir.
useful for us.
Most people find it boring.